Okay, we're back with the Spears of MUNSIL disc again and calibrating TVs with the cell phone app. So let's continue. I wanted to calibrate, say, an OLED or something like that, but my OLED is already calibrated, so I'm not touching it. So I found another TV. The other TV is a Vizio that I have downstairs in the office. It's a 40-inch. It does have HDR and Dolby Vision, but I don't think I've ever seen it activated as Dolby Vision or HDR10 because most of the stuff I watch is just SDR down in the office. So, but I thought this was a good opportunity for me to just see what this cell phone app is capable of doing. So yeah, I'll give you a few shots of the actual setup here. So I reset all of the calibrated dark to the factory defaults. This is just a wrapping table in the office. Those were some of the settings, I believe, that were just default. The tuner settings. This is actually for the two-step calibration. I noticed because I thought I did one calibration and thought, well, I've missed this, but you really don't need this when you've got the other 11 step. They do stack though. The changes you make here also apply to this as well, and that was me just measuring you know, a 10% window at 100 IRE, I believe. Some of the other pictures are from the calibration afterwards, so I'll save that for later. So let's just really quickly see what we have going on here with this Vizio TV. It's connected to a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player, and it's using the Spears of MUNSIL disc in SDR to measure from 5% all the way up to 100%. Now, I didn't know at the start that the phone would be able to measure as low as 5%, and it couldn't. Once I did this measurement, though, I realized that increasing the backlight on these TVs does not actually affect grayscale. So what I did was, essentially, I turned up the backlight to max. Right, that way I could get all the way down to 5%, and I could see the entire grayscale. So when you lower the backlight down, you should not see a jump in the grayscale by doing that either. So for calibration in SDR, at least in HDR, I don't think you'll be able to do this because the backlight essentially is already maxed out. So yeah, let's see what we've got going on. This is completely uncalibrated, but in its most accurate mode with everything default. So we are leaning a little blue here. That was a 20, 30, pretty good, 40%, 6400. I was like, wow, this is actually quite good. 50% were actually going too warm, and we're getting warmer at 60, and 70 were actually it's unmeasurable. However, though, one thing I have realized that even if the camera here is not picking up like information or as much information as it thinks it needs, it's still able to measure. Like even though this is grayed out, it's still a measurement of what is actually on screen. So now the reason this is happening is really, in my opinion, it's due to power. You know, this TV is like, I mean, when I bought it, I think we got it on a really good deal for like $250. I think it might be worth $400, but if it's $400, it's probably overpriced, in my opinion. This is just a cheap, you know, LCD Vizio TV, 40-inch. It's like, you know, it's about as basic as you can get. And once you start going higher up into these measurements, it just doesn't have the power to really produce enough light. See, like 80, we're measuring this way again. 90, we're going down, and at 100, we've really just lost output entirely. So a bit of a mix of I mean, the grayscale for the most part is really all over the place, right? This is, you know, and I'm in the accurate mode, which is calibrated dark, I think it was dark, or yeah. So so I thought, okay, let's see what I can do with this. I did look at the two-step. This is at 30%, and that was at 80, and I was like, wow, this is really good. The problem is with me just starting off and doing this, it pulled down all the other figures. Like at 5% we was like heavy blue, and I couldn't get rid of it. And it just, for me, doing it that way did not work. Doing the two-step first did not work. So once I figured all of that out, I got good results here, but again, if you measure 5% now, it was totally off. So what's really happening there is when you're at 30 and say at 80, and the 31, for example, if you start messing with the gain, you're kind of affecting everything, like everything around it. And it's the same with 80. You can get 80 right, but then it could be pulling down other colors at 85, 90. And I found that doing it this way in the two-step just was not accurate at all. It could not be done. You might be able to throw some little things into these ones, but I would not go much at all. And I think I remember when I had a 75-inch Vizio, my calibrator said, look, I don't want to touch this side of the calibration, and he did everything in the steps, the 11th step as well. I think he just did some minor things maybe in these, but it was very small, because it affects the picture so much. So what I did was I went to the 11th step, I reset this, made sure this was all reset, and I just I went to the 11th step again because I'd already done it. And now let's see what we've actually got. So this is the 11th step. It was the final calibration in SDR. Goals. My goals were to get everything to absolute 6500 Kelvin with a slight green push of 2%. I'm considering this 2%. So this is at 5%, and typically on my LG C9 I could not capture light at 5%. In HDR, I was measuring at HDR at the time, and I didn't realize about this backlight push you could use. Essentially, you know, just maxing out the backlight like this just gave it enough juice to be able for the phone to be able to read this. So calibrated gorgeously down the black levels, by the way, after this, because you can get into the 5% like this. The black levels are incredible. The black level, the gamma is set to 2.4, not 2.2. I thought, you know what, let's try and see what this TV can really do and use the proper gamma for SDR, which is 2.4. Or BT 1886, but it didn't have that, so I used that 2.4. And yeah, after this, the black level, they look absolute. I mean, they look excellent. They really do. Again, for a $200 to $300 TV, you know, always keep that in mind here when I say it's amazing. You know, for what it is, it's very good. So 10%, same deal. 2% green, 6500K. 20%, 2% green, 6500K. 30, 2%, 40. It's the same story the entire way up the grayscale, but there's a few things that I wanted to try and resolve, and that was this brightness issue on the TV where it just doesn't have enough punch above, you know, say 80% or whatever. All right, so we get into we've gotten into 70% here, and we're now starting to get into limited power output from the TV. Right, it's just not bright enough. However, again, it's still measuring. You know, don't just because you get this warning, don't think you're not measuring. You still are measuring. When I was, excuse me, like I would have to pick this up from 200 Kelvin all the way up to 6500 Kelvin, and it is still measuring here. It's just very low level light. So just keep that in mind. Just because you get this, don't say, oh, well, I can't do anything. You can still do this. So I got 6500K again, and 2% green. And yeah, same thing, 80%. Again, limited light output, but this is what we got. So 92% again. Now 100% light, the TV just simply struggles. I did everything possible that I could, and this was the best that I could get. By the way, well, let's actually have a look. What was pre-calibration? Pre-calibration was... Wait, was that 60? It was 6100? Uncalibrated. Yeah, 6100. Yeah, okay. 6150, and just bring it up to 6300 here was... I had to put everything into it. So, you know, I had to raise blue up to like positive 50, and that is the max the TV will allow. By the way, this didn't have the appearance of being too blue or anything like that. This really was, I think, accurate in what is actually happening with the TV. It just doesn't have the power output to do this. Now, what I did then was put negative numbers on red, and negative numbers on red really started to push this back up, but even that, it just wasn't enough. Also, once you start playing with red and then playing with blue, greens, like if you start pushing red up, it could affect green as well. So you know, you've really just got to get a balance here. In the end, you know, this is again a cheap TV. I'm accepting this because, you know, the TV's maxed out either way. Whites do to my eyes, even at 6300 here, you know, we are a little warm, but it looks white. You know, it does look white. So overall, yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at the grayscale the entire way up. I literally got 6500 apart from 100 IRE. The 100% white. So very happy. But how does it actually look is the real question. So I've got some screenshots here. I just took these with my phone. This is the Spears and MUNSIL demo. There's a demo on here as well. You can choose SDR, HLG, HDR, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. So I just chose the SDR version because that is what's calibrated now. And I'll be honest, it looks absolutely gorgeous, right? Within reason, and again, within reason. If anybody knows this scene, the phone, by the way, is capturing slightly desaturated. But if anyone does know this scene, this scene in HDR is incredibly saturated. But on the TV and that, you know, it's about as good as it can look. But you know, look at it, even just these screenshots here. You know, everything looked balanced. I've only seen this on my LG C9, which is professionally calibrated, and I was honestly floored at how accurate. I wouldn't say accurate, but just how good it looked. Right? We can leave the words accuracy, by the door. Do not really worry too much about that. Again, a lot of this is actually getting the grayscale balanced, and once you have that balance there, I'm seeing that the picture really does look nice. It's really, really good. I thought the colors were excellent. Now there are limitations. This TV clips red. Now you could say, well, just bring the color down or bring red down. You completely desaturate the picture then, even worse. It's just, for me, I was like, to me the colors looked good as they are, and on a test pattern, yeah, sure, the reds clip, but watching content, red and colors look exactly as they should look, in my opinion. And again, within reason to say that this is like a $300 TV. When I bought my LG C9, I think it was like 4,500. So the difference is just astronomical in price compared to this TV. And the results I'm getting, I'll be honest again, I'm impressed. The colors look really, really nice. But as well, black levels are so much better now, because I always thought that this TV needed like even higher than 2.2 gamma, because obviously I'm in the office, I got all the lights on and stuff like that. But the gamma, the black levels have just been raised now. Not obviously, but it's raised nicely in a calibrated sense. You can actually see things now. I can make things out. And this is just a cell phone app doing this. So I'm really just checking here for like anomalies. Like, I know how this content looks because my TV upstairs here is professionally calibrated. I just know how these colors look. Even in SDR, I know how they look. I've played them more times than I care to admit. But yeah, that it looks good. It really does. So again, it's slightly desaturated, but there's no obvious hues. Like if there was black level detail seen, I didn't see blue coming out of the black. I didn't see greens coming out of the black. I didn't see, there's no hues. And I think because that balance is really just well done now. Having this green at 2% around here, to me, it just, I don't know. I don't see any hues. Skin tones look excellent. Yeah. So yeah, I am impressed. Now seeing this in action, because again, if you watch my previous video, I was just measuring my C9 to see what kind of accuracy we had. It measured 6800 Kelvin, about on average, which is actually a little cool. And I don't know if that's my phone doing that, measuring it that way, or if or my TV is actually cool, even though it was professionally calibrated. But again, to me, when I watch my C9, there's no hues, there's no obvious blues or anything like that, and it maintains that 6800 Kelvin from SDR to HDR to Dolby Vision. That again, really for me, is one of the most important things. Is that balance. So yeah, very impressed. And again, this is just from a cell phone. It's just measuring the light on a cell phone. I just think, yeah, I mean that's just really good. Just for it, like, if you don't want to pay for a calibration, and you find some of this work fun, you know, and you've got a TV, say, outside, and it does have a menu to adjust all the colors, because my TV outside actually does. And that was cheap. That was like $150 or something, and it's just for a cheap TV outside. One day I might just go in there and you know, put the 4K player on it, start measuring all of the stuff, and just have a basic calibration done, you know. So a couple of things I have seen, again, from going from non-calibrated to calibrated, is black level improvement is so much better, and really there's no hues, because you could see hues and just oddities before on this Vizio. Again, it's just for an office TV, but you watch it and you just know it's just incorrect. But like this, it's amazing. Now, Vizio, and I guess all other TVs do this, they save the calibration results, say, on one input. So what I would have to do now is copy these settings over to, say, the TV channel, you know, for the news and stuff like that, and I just want to see if that copies over correctly, because on a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player, like it looks gorgeous. So yeah, I hope I don't see reason why it wouldn't look good for, say, the news and stuff like that, because that's a lot of times what we watch. Or, to be honest, we just watch like Twitch, gaming, and you know, that type of stuff, or some YouTube stuff, or maybe some Amazon Prime on there sometimes just while we work. So yeah, it's I'm gonna have to copy my, well, actually I'm using HDMI 1, so I'm yeah, that would be fine. Yeah, they'll copy over correctly for the stick that I have, the Amazon Fire Stick. That would copy over there fine. But yeah, really impressed. Yeah, I mean, I've got this red clipping issue and things like that, but again, that's just a test pan. What does it actually look like? And it looks good. For a cheap TV and now a cell phone app, just calibrating this essentially for free, I'm really impressed. You know, this is good. When you're measuring 6500 Kelvin the entire way up the grayscale with a 2% green push slightly, for better skin tones, even on a $300 TV, it looks good. It really does. So now, this won't, you know, take people out of jobs or anything like that for professional calibrators, because you know, if you want professional work done, they are there, you know, and they will get the TV to 6500 D, D6500 white point. You will absolutely not see hues that way, and you will know in the back of your mind that it really is set up correctly. But I'm not going to say this is perfect or anything like that, but just really impressed, you know, what you can actually do. So yeah, I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah, that's essentially my results. Basically perfect all the way up to 100, and again, we're seeing just restrictions in the power of the TV. That's really it. But the results I'm getting are just very even the entire way down. So I will leave a link in the description for the app, and I will leave a link in the description as well for the person that originally found this for me, which is Plasma TV for Gaming. He's really hardcore into this, like do-it-yourself type stuff, and he got me onto this. So yeah, so this is really just a part 2 and just a follow-up of what can be done with a TV that is not calibrated and that now essentially is calibrated, and the results are excellent. So and again, within reason, however expensive your TV is, you know, in the $500 range, in that low budget type range, I think you're going to be very happy. It's not going to be perfect, you know. There could be brightness issues like this one. Reds could be out, you know. You could run into some potential issues, and just restrictions of, you know, of what you're buying. Typically, the higher you go up in price, the less issues you really should run into. So good stuff. Yeah. I might do a part 3 now on this, just to double check that the calibration for the HDR formats will go as well. I'll calibrate them as well soon, if I can. In the end, this took about an hour, and one of it is because I messed up. Like at the start, I did a full calibration, and then I thought, well, I'm going to reset this and then do the 2-step first, because maybe that will help. And then it didn't help, and then I was like, okay, let's delete that, and then so the 11th step for me was perfect. And yeah, so all right, that's enough. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.